But you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you have
irrelevant.
an
Sounds very
argument?
insecure.
Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument? Do you have an argument? Or is it just
Sorry, I
Andrew
haven't heard
bad?
one from you.
Yes, I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing, what we need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind. You're just a shock jock,
It's not
mate.
psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. Nobody's going to listen to you. You're
Wendy,
an
are you going to have
aggressive,
an argument?
insecure man.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
We're not taking you seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you.
Feminism just walked into a trap on live television, and it never saw it coming. A panel built to gang up on one conservative voice ended with that voice standing alone, unshaken, while the empowered women across from him couldn't answer a single direct question. Today, we're breaking down the exact moment Andrew Wilson turned a Piers Morgan debate into a public execution of covert feminism.
So, Emily, where do you sit? Are you a covert feminist like Tommy? Did you agree with Andrew's assessment?
I'm not a covert feminist. I am very outwardly... You know, the word feminism has been hijacked by, like, the woke left who uses it as an excuse for psychotic women and liberals to scream on the streets, we want equal rights when we have equal rights. I'm more so an empowered woman who encourages other women to, you know, be independent, work hard, chase your dreams. And that doesn't come at the expense of being feminine. It doesn't come at the expense of, now as a feminist, you need to eradicate all men. I don't think everything is so black or white. Listening to that debate, they spoke a bit about gender roles, and here's my take on that. If you're gonna have gender role expectations for your man, that's a personal choice. Emily Austin has high expectations of her man. He has to be working hard, he should be successful, he should, you know, pay attention to how I feel. Like, there should be certain gender roles. He has to provide for the family, not solely, but he should be providing for his family. These are gender roles. As a woman, I learned how to cook, I know how to clean. My grandmother always tells me, my mother tells me, Emily, you're gonna be a good wife, you're gonna be loyal, you're gonna be supportive, you're gonna act like a lady. Now, there's many women who don't wanna play into the gender roles, which is fine, but then don't expect your man to go out and become masculine. I think it's equal. Like, set the expectation and then date people who meet your expectation. But in terms of covert feminism, first of all, it's such a silly term. Either you support women or you don't. And I'm not talking about the trans argument right now.
Not only is it not a silly term, it is true that most of the political pundit women on the right are covert feminists. And I'll just ask you the same exact question I asked Tommy.
Because the word feminism got hijacked.
Let me finish the question. Let me finish the question. No, I'm talking about all the way back to first wave feminism. Okay, you are feminist, and I'll explain by asking you the same question. If it is men's duty in society to procure, refine, protect resources, which then women and children are the primary beneficiaries of, which they are. What societal duty, which is equal to that, do women have? What is it?
Women, we're going to have children. Men will never understand the burden of carrying a child.
So you have a duty to reproduce?
I expect women to be able to cook and clean.
Wait, so you have women have a duty to reproduce?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So that's the one duty that's on par. Great. So that's one duty that's on par with that. I totally agree. Are they? Or is it the case that in every single nation in the West, we are under reproductive rates in every single one of them? In every single nation in the West, we are lower than where we need to be for reproduction. So it seems that men are fulfilling their social duty and women are not. And the problem with the right is that the right doesn't ever address this, and right-wing females never address this. Instead, they say it's equal. Work and motherhood are equal. They're not equal. Not only are they not equal, but let me give you another example here. As you dive into this, try to understand that what you do is you actually hamstring women by telling women they should go and be girl boss babes and go to college starting in their 20s. They actually destroy their prime reproductive years. They destroy them by having families later. It's the primary cause.
Okay, that's silly. I'm 23.
Hang on, listen.
It's
the primary cause for the reproduction crisis. It's the primary cause of the reproduction crisis in the West, is that with women defer families till they're in their 30s. Why do you think the average age of marriage is 32 in the United States? I think it just got raised to 33. Yes, you're going to have way less kids. Okay, part of girl bossing is when you say career women are right on par with mothers. They're not, and society should be glorifying one, not socially shaming the other, but you shouldn't give them the same elevation you give to mothers and matrons of families. That is pure covert feminism.
Okay.
This is the part they don't want you to clip. Emily Austin sits there insisting she's not a covert feminist. She's just empowered, just independent, just chasing her dreams. Fine, standard talking points. Then Andrew Wilson does something almost nobody on that panel expected. He asks a real question. Men have a societal duty to procure, refine, and protect resources for women and children. Fair enough, that's just biology and history talking. So what's the equivalent duty women owe society back? Silence. Deflection. Then finally she says it herself. Reproduction. And Andrew doesn't even need to gloat. He just quietly points out that Western birth rates are collapsing in every single developed nation, which means men are still showing up for their half of the deal while women, on average, are not. That's not a right-wing talking point. That's a fertility chart. He didn't insult her. He didn't need to. He just let the math speak, and the math is brutal for the girl boss narrative. Notice what happens next. Instead of engaging with the actual argument, the panel pivots straight to calling him insecure, pathetic, and obsessed. That's the tell. When the logic runs out, the insults start. Every single time.
All right, how is
Julie,
that possible?
You started the shit
you were
show,
not.
honey.
Well, hang on. I want to get Julie to respond to Andrew.
Oh, I zoned out and I thought I'd woken up in the 1950s in some TARDIS. You can't take him seriously. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean in the 1950s? You mean in the 1950s when we had intact families where 95% of women were getting married as virgins, where families weren't being broken up, where crime was extremely low, where you only needed one income to support an entire household, where mental illness was at an all-time low? Like that 1950s? I'm sorry that I make a reference to a time.
Sir, are you married? Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married. How do you make married with many children?
Is your
How
wife
about you?
happy?
You married with children? Oh, she's ecstatic.
No, I'm 23.
She's
I'm
gonna
a boss
bring me-
lady girl, which seems to
Yeah.
be driving you crazy.
Yeah.
Working, making
I'm
money,
just pointing
waiting
out
for the right guy to
the
come
only
along.
thing you have no arguments. You just try to assault me personally. You can try, but the truth is that I've reproduced. I am
How
married.
did I assault
do
you?
have
I
the
asked you
life.
if you're married.
No, you didn't. You were making a passive-aggressive
I mean, to be
feminist
Wait,
fair,
how
to
did
be
I
fair
assault
to
you?
about how my
You
wife
sound
must be
literal.
miserable.
Andrew,
Your wife must be miserable.
to be fair, Andrew is
She might
practicing
be.
what he preaches. I want to bring in another clip from a debate between Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh on the similar theme. Let's watch a little clip from this.
Again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it.
Covert feminist.
And she went on to say this about young men not wanting to marry career women. Let's take a listen to this.
We're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work. If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming.
Now, Matt Walsh responded by saying
Chris,
men
can I
are
tell you the
generally not
beauty of all of
attracted
this?
to ambitious career. Well, hang on a minute. I want to read a clip from Matt Walsh, or a quote. He said, men are generally not attracted to ambitious, career-driven women, and women's first priority should be children and looking after the home. So, Emily, what do you think of that?
I think the beauty about free will is you make a choice who you want to spend your life with. Like, I know many men are okay with, a woman who works, and I know many men are not. And that's the great part is you choose who you want to partner with. So if you want a woman to be home and have 5, 6, 7, 8 children, which is a beautiful choice to make in life, then go for it. If you want a woman who can do both, work and have children when she's ready, 2 or 3 children, then go for that type of woman. If you want a woman who's never home and going to be on the road all the time, and trust me, there are many beta men who would love that, then go for that. Like, nobody is forcing you to be with a woman that doesn't cater to your needs. The same way no one's forcing any women to be with a guy like Andrew Tate that's going to beat you and make you miserable. We have choices, and we need to make calculated, wise choices as to what personally is best for you.
the Andrew Tate fallacy. Instantly moving over to Andrew Tate is evil and a representation of men who believe in a patriarchal system. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that we should be doing for society what is socially good for society. If we can't reproduce our society, that's a really bad social ill for society. When you have propaganda that is telling women to go get useless degrees in psychology and sociology. Yeah, that's great. Let me finish.
It's actually
Andrew,
sad.
hang on. There's Andrew, quickly.
Julie Bindel tries the oldest trick in the book, mock him, call him a relic, joke about the 1950s like it's an automatic conversation ender. Andrew doesn't flinch. He turns it right back around. Yeah, the 1950s, when families stayed together, crime was low, one income supported a household, and mental illness wasn't at a crisis level. Suddenly, the bad old days doesn't sound so bad when you actually list the outcomes instead of the vibes. Then it gets personal. They demand to know if he's married, clearly expecting to catch him being a hypocrite. He is married. He does have kids. He's not lecturing from theory. He's living the exact thing he's arguing for. And that wrecks their entire insecure man narrative in real time. And here's the part that really should embarrass this panel. Stacia spends the whole debate preaching live and let live until it's time to talk about her own sport. And suddenly, the tolerance evaporates. Andrew catches it instantly and calls it exactly what it is. A walking contradiction. You can't demand unconditional tolerance from everyone else and then draw a hard line the second it costs you something personally. That's not a principle. That's a preference dressed up as a principle, and Andrew Wilson wasn't about to let her get away with it on national television.